Hi everyone, Meta Anime here. Hope you are doing well. Today I am going to tell the story of a sci-fi film called Bubble. Released in 2022 on Netflix, the film is directed by Tetsuro Araki, well known for the Attack on Titan TV series and movies. After bubbles that broke the laws of gravity rained down upon the world, Tokyo, which was cut off from the outside world, has become a playground for groups of young people who lost their families. Before we go, this video contains spoilers. So please take this warning for those that haven't watched this movie yet. Without further ado, here's the recap of Bubble. In the city of Tokyo, which was completely wrecked and filled with gravitational anomalies, two teams were competing in a parkour competition. This competition is known as Tokyo Battlecar. It is a 5-on-5 game where teams bet on the outcome of a parkour match. The players are out if they fall into the ocean, and the team that captures the flag wins. The match that we are shown is between the Team Blue Blaze against the Team Denki Ninja. The Blue Blaze or BB is well known as a very powerful team that won 37 out of their 42 matches. During the match, one of the BB's team members, Usagi, is about to fall into a dangerous vortex called the Ant Lion Pit due to his recklessness. Then our protagonist, named Hibiki, who is a member of the BB team, went and saved him. He is a boy suffering from the hypersensitive auditory function, which made him cannot stand the crowd. Despite that, he is the ace of the BB team due to his parkour skill that can utilize the floating bubbles. After saving Usagi, he then went on and won the game by himself. At night, the BB team members except Hibiki were enjoying the loot they got for winning. They were living on an abandoned ship. Hibiki, who was all alone on the deck, was approached by a girl named Makoto. She is a scientist from outside of Tokyo that lived with the BB team to investigate the bubble fall phenomenon. But Hibiki went away himself to the destroyed Tokyo Tower as he claimed that he can hear voices from there. The scene then shifted to flashbacks. 5 years ago, bubbles with mysterious power fell all over the world and brought about pandemonium. After some time, an unknown explosion occurred in the middle of Tokyo and enclosed it in a gigantic bubble. The bubbles then only appeared in the center of Tokyo. The people of Tokyo then left their homes, making it an abandoned city. Over time, boys that lost their parents began illegally residing in the area and created the Tokyo Battlecar game there. Back to the present, now Hibiki is trying to climb the Tokyo Tower that was the center of the explosion 5 years ago and is now a giant antlion pit. He tried hard to climb but unfortunately fell to another pit below. As he fell, a bubble chased him down into the water. Inside the water, the bubble transformed into a human girl after interacting with bubbles of air that were formed by Hibiki's breath. She then went and kissed the helpless Hibiki and then helped him out of the water. At the surface, she tried to touch Hibiki again, but bubbles formed on her hand and shocked her. Not long after, Hibiki and the girl were taken back home by another man that lived with the BB team named Shin. At the ship, the girl acted weird. She was like a cat girl as she was agile and also seemed very curious about everything like a baby. Because she didn't have a name, Hibiki then named her Yuta because he heard her sing. Due to high agility, they were considering putting Yuta on their team. At night, Makoto read Yuta a story from a book. Yuta chose the story of the mermaid and asked Makoto to read her. After hearing the story of how the mermaid saved a prince from drowning in the story, Yuta thought of herself as the princess and Hibiki as the prince. The two of them then spent a lot of time together. Hibiki taught Yuta various things and they even researched the bubble fall phenomenon together. As time goes by, Hibiki became more open to Yuta. It was the first time that Hibiki ever told anyone the story of his life. He told her that he was in the Tokyo Tower during the explosion. Even though it was the center of the explosion, he was mysteriously saved and survived the incident. After hearing the story, Yuta then went in the direction of the Tokyo Tower and sang. While she was singing, Hibiki became reminded of the time he touched a bubble through the glass at the Tokyo Tower. As he approached her, Yuta jumped and they then performed parkour together. Amazingly, Yuta was able to match Hibiki's parkour ability and they enjoyed doing it together. At night, Makoto was kidnapped by another team called the Undertaker. They are a team that uses technologies from the outside world to do their parkour. They used special shoes that can help give them a boost when they jumped, which gives them huge advantages during any matches. Those technologies are obtained from outside sponsors as they streamed the Battlecore match to the outside world and gained profits from the views. To challenge the BB team for a match, they used Makoto as their bait and the bet for the match. The BB team was very determined to win the match and save Makoto. This match then became Yuta's debut match. Right after the start of the match, the Undertaker managed to eliminate 2 of the BB's team members. Not long after, the rest of the BB's team were lured into an antlion pit and found almost no way out from the place. Even though they seemed to be in a pinch, Yuta daringly jumped through the obstacles and showed very amazing skills utilizing the bubbles to the max. After she managed to escape, Yuta shouted to Hibiki, telling him to come as well. With the help of BB's team leader named Kai, Hibiki managed to follow Yuta as well. The 2 of them then ran together by managing to avoid every obstacle and attack from the Undertaker team. When they were close to the flag, Hibiki asked Yuta to take his hand so that he could propel her so that she could reach the flag. She was hesitant at first, but decided to do it anyway. After the satisfying scene of Yuta using the Undertaker leader's face as footing, she grabbed Hibiki's hand. Her right hand instantly turned into bubbles, but she was still propelled and managed to grab the flag afterward. At night, they were celebrating the victory, but Yuta wasn't with them. She was afraid that the others would know her condition. From the middle of the Tokyo Tower, she heard a voice and saw a giant black vortex coming to her. The voice seemed to tell her to come back to where she came from. Yuta suddenly came to her senses due to Hibiki's arrival. There, Hibiki gave her a seashell necklace for winning her first match and was about to kiss her. But they were suddenly interrupted by an ominous humming accompanied by a bunch of bubbles falling. This caused panic among the other people as well. As the environment became unstable, Hibiki grabbed Yuta's hand after seeing she was about to fall. But he was surprised to see that one of Yuta's hands has turned into bubbles. When one of the bubbles from Yuta's hand touched Hibiki, he started to see Yuta's memories. He now knows that Yuta was the bubble he touched before the explosion 5 years ago. And now the other bubbles were mad because Yuta didn't come back to them. The only way to stop the bubbles was for Yuta to come back to them. She then started to run to the Tokyo Tower. Hibiki tried to chase her but was stopped and dragged to an antlion vortex by the bubbles. He was saved by Shin and returned to the ship. Hibiki is determined to save and take Yuta back from the bubbles. His friends tried to stop him because of the dangers but changed their minds after seeing Hibiki's determination. After getting the special shoes from the Undertaker's team, they departed for the tower together. Together, they passed through various obstacles and reached the tower. There they were faced with 2 black vortexes that disrupt the gravity around, which gave them a lot of trouble. Suddenly, Shin came to their rescue. He was an expert parkour athlete that lost one of his legs and decided not to do parkour anymore. Using his experience and expertise, he led the team through the obstacles and managed to get Hibiki to the top of the tower at the expense of losing his artificial leg. At the tower, Hibiki saw the frozen scene of the day of the explosion. He saw the kid version of himself. He then remembered the day it happened. Before the explosion occurred, he heard Yuta singing and saw a bubble approaching him. By the time he touched the bubble on the glass, the explosion occurred, but he was saved by the bubble. After that, Hibiki saw Yuta trapped inside a bubble. A black humanoid figure grabbed her hand tightly as if convincing her not to go. But ultimately Yuta chose to go and save Hibiki, who was trapped inside a red bubble even though she knew that it would end badly for her. The tower then fell and Hibiki and Yuta ran from the red bubbles that were chasing them. Hibiki ran while holding Yuta, who was rapidly turning back into bubbles. While running, the bubbles from Yuta's body also destroyed the red bubbles and the giant bubble that was enclosing Tokyo. Hibiki then managed to get Yuta to somewhere safer. But most of Yuta's bodies have turned into bubbles and the transformation is still going on. She then completely turned into bubbles and disappeared. The bubbles that came out from Yuta's body dispersed the red bubbles and saved the city from this mysterious phenomenon. The next day, life in Tokyo turned back to normal. The gravity returned to normal and the restoration of Tokyo began. The film then ended with the boys doing a battlecore match in the middle of Tokyo that is being restored. So that concludes the recap of Bubble. What do you guys think? This film showed very amazing visuals and lots of jaw-dropping dynamic action set pieces. I found the story of mixing parkour with the Little Mermaid tale using a gorgeous yet dystopian version of Tokyo a little weird but very unique. It tells the story of hope, with creation, destruction, and recreation coming in an eternal cycle. Overall, it is an entertaining and immersive film that is worth watching despite its flaws. Please tell us what you think through the comment section. If you like this content, please leave us a like and share them with your friends. Thank you for watching, until we see you again.